And then they don't mind throwing it, but you got a 6'2", 240-pound guy lined up at slot. He comes in to block on a linebacker. That's definitely showing dedication to trying to run that ball, and that makes for a faster game. Clock keeps moving, and lessens your chance of turnovers. What have you seen from them on film?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, they are a run heavy team for the most part. Their quarterback does sling it a little bit. He can throw it a little bit. He's a good quarterback. He runs tough. He's not the most athletic guy. I mentioned that he's similar to, he's the less physical Waylon. From a few years back for us. But he can throw the ball really well. Now the people he's throwing to are, not the best. He doesn't have the best weapons on the outside, but that two-headed monster of Cole Rowland and Jaden Ellen is special. That running back right there, real similar to Peter Lee Ufala, a little bit shorter, stockier. So, won't have to really, really wrap him up. He won't go down as easy. Not saying Peter went down easy by any means, but, he's a little taller, so it's easy to knock him over a little bit if you get him on balance. This kid's low to the ground and center of gravity is right there. So we got to wrap him up and make sure we're driving our feet because he doesn't stop running his.
Any possibilities of loading box for maybe 5 men in front, especially on running downs, or?
Yeah, we'll get a similar. We'll get into some stuff. If they got their I formation, we'll tighten the D line down and walk our safeties up on the line of scrimmage and keep our backers in the box to read all the trash out and go make the tackles. That's basically what we ask our backers to do in this. We ask our D linemen to eat up blocks and our linebackers to be able to, be free and make tackles. And, we've really seen, our D line do a really great job of eating up blocks. And it's even allowed our safeties to come in the mix and tackle a lot. Our linebackers have made some plays. Our defense is really flying around as a whole right now. So as long as we're getting 2 or 3 hats to the ball and then getting the rest of the 11 there after the fact, but point of contact, we want to make sure 2 or 3 guys are there, especially tonight versus this really tough running back.
Absolutely. Load up that box, and it's definitely going to be a lot of run game from them. And that running back, I thought of Peter Lee looking at him as well. Like they're nearly similar in size and everything like that. But like you said, a little tougher to bring down. But, we brought Peter Lee down last week, and, I know our guys will be up for the challenge. And we talked about quarterback running the ball. And seems like we've seen that quite a bit throughout all district play. Stigler's quarterback ran the ball. Of course, you had Tegan Collins from Muldrow. He was a little hobble, but he ran the ball some. So that's been a theme throughout district play. Quarterbacks that don't mind putting their head down and getting those yards on the ground. And ours, McCall Dixon, same thing. So it'll definitely be interesting to watch tonight. Now, defensively, they line up in the 4-man front. Looks like they start out in a 4-3. It looks like that outside linebacker will sometimes come to the line and try and crash in. What have you seen from them defensively?
Yeah, I mean, looks like a 4-3. I think it's kind of like a 3-4, and they're just walking the weak side backer up, and then Apex another guy out to the side. It'll be interesting to see how they play us tonight. I've been watching the Muldrow film because, we're really athletic just like Muldrow. So kind of try to find some similarities there. Watched a lot of the Holland game just to figure out how the game ended up how it did. But, Shakota's not a bad team by any means. They run a lot of cover 2 man, man up everybody underneath and keep 2 safeties high. But, if you're going to play linebacker on Jordan Lewis, you're in for a long night. So, hopefully we can take advantage of some things. Their quarterbacks, their linebacker, one of their middle linebackers, he's a tough kid. But, we're going to run at him and make him maybe have to put that throwing shoulder in the mix or put that helmet in there and make some plays and, see just how bad he wants to tackle or if he really just wants to get over the offensive side of the ball with the quarterback.
Right. Make him work on both sides of the ball. I'm all for that. And, the running game has been, really great these last 3 weeks with Quincy and Jay Sean. And actually, these last few weeks, even dating back to the Muldrow game, definitely been able to get it done on the ground. And then there have been times that you put up 250, 225 as the team running the ball. So definitely looking forward to seeing that tonight. And then lining up a linebacker on Jordan or on Benny, there's going to be some opportunities to get that ball down the field, hit the big pass. And then, there's always a possibility of finding tight. It's the middle of the field at tight end. And then, I like that y'all brought him in as a closer at running back at Mojo. That was a nice touch. And I know we haven't seen it since then, but, you want, like he mentioned, we expect you want to win 5 in a row. This week will get you that 5th win in a row. So, got to throw everything out there and see what happens. Um, with this, like you mentioned, like at the top of the broadcast, win this game, we clinch third, and then let Shakota and you battle it out fourth, and even the winner of the Mojo Stigler game has a chance of sneaking in there if they win tonight, and then they win that Week 10 game. We'll get to that here in a moment.
Yeah,
How's that work?
It'll be tough though. With Stigler losing the Locust last week, I think Stigler's out of contention for it. If Stigler were to knock off Mojo tonight, though, Mojo would be out of contention for it. So then it would just be a Shakota you follow for 4th place next week. But if Mojo were to win tonight and win Week 10 and they want to go ahead and win out, and Shakota were to lose to Eufaula, Mojo and Eufaula would have the same district record, and Mojo has the head-to-head with them, so Mojo would actually get that 4th spot. So I think it's down to 3 teams now for that last spot. If we were to handle business, the good thing is, if we were not to handle business, we have a head-to-head over everybody else except for Shakota. So, which is a good thing for us. So,
right. So, fact of the matter is we're in one way or another. So, next question. Have you talked to the team about playing through adversity in the form of a timely flag getting thrown when we hit a big play, or oops, we get a stop on third down, here comes the flag? It seems like some odd stuff happens whenever we go to Shakota. I recall my last trip up there was when Coach Parker was here, and we had a pretty good team, and Parker nearly got thrown out the game. He got into it with the ref, and I see multiple flags fly up. So it's always you got to play that next play, get that first down, get that stop. So have you had a chance to speak with the team on that?
Yes, sir. We actually rep that throughout the week. We'll be playing, and we'll start moving the ball on Scout O and versus the team first defense, second defense, and we'll be moving the ball, and then we'll say, hey, we got to stop on third down, but there's a penalty flag, and so we'll walk it up and make them move. And the same thing offensively. We moved them back 15, 10 yards, just for little things like that, just to get them prepared mentally and see how they would react. See if you're going to start pointing and jarring at your brother, or if you're just going to be like, hey, come on, let's fix it, move on to the next play, and let's keep going. And thankfully, for the most part, it was, hey, we're moving on to the next play. Let's keep playing. It is what it is. We're going to stop, and we'll get the next first down. And also, shout out to Coach Parker, man. He's been a big mentor to me. I've been talking to him quite a bit, and it feels good to be able to talk to him and get that guidance from him a little bit.
Absolutely, and it's great of y'all to think ahead of those situations. I know some teams don't think that far ahead. So, with that being said, this is our last regular season road trip. Warrior Nation, get your gas money, get your pike passes ready, because we'll be hitting the road again, like I mentioned, in a couple of weeks. But focusing on tonight, I mentioned this already, talking about winning 5 in a row. A win tonight will accomplish that mission. Do you have any words for Warrior Nation?
Yeah, come out and support these kids, man. Support these boys. These young men have worked their butts off, and they deserve to hear your support and hear you cheering in the crowd. I understand it's a long road trip, but with us being in 3A and looking like we'll be in 3A again, we're always gonna have long road trips. So it is what it is with that scenario. And so if you Warrior through and through, come on out and support if you're able to. If not, hopefully we can find a stream for you. It is Shakota senior night, so they'll start stuff about 6:30 on the field. But we're excited for the opportunity to go out and compete, and we hope you guys can be there to cheer us on.
All right, hey, can we keep you here for a little bit? We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll get into these district games, because I know there are there's some implications. I think our game will be the most interesting one of the week, but there's some other implications. So we're gonna come right back, and you're listening to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First 96.7 KBEL.
Every life tells a story.
We're just going to go over these real quick, and then we'll get you out of here.
Get ready, McCurtain County. The free fair is September 2nd through the 6th, and you don't want to miss it.
Oh, I see what happened. Two commercials are playing at one, and he has the fair board up. The fair's already come and gone.
Mark your calendars and make memories at the McCurtain County Free Fair, September 2nd through the 6th. That's 5 days of fun right here in McCurtain County. It's the McCurtain County Free Fair.
This must be a 60-second commercial. Okay.
When the Warriors hit the field, it takes strength, grit, and the right equipment to win the battle. But when it comes to your farm, the same rules apply. Lovewell Farm Supplies in Idabel is your hometown team for farm equipment, repairs, parts, tires, batteries, and custom hydraulic hoses. They carry trusted names like Creeper and Vermeer to keep your operation rolling strong all season long. Just like your Idabel Warriors fight for every yard, Lovewell fights for every customer with honesty, service, and hometown pride. Lovewell Farm Supplies, 301 South Indian Road in Idabel, proud supporter of Warrior football.
Welcome back to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's first 96.7 KBEL. We still got Coach Kincaid here in the studio. We're going to go over these district games, and we'll get him out of here. So as we mentioned before, Mojo at Stigler, Bulldogs can sneak back into the discussion for fourth place win, but some magical stuff has happened on that field in Stigler. So that really is a toss-up. Stigler plays really well at home. So anything can happen in that one. That's going to be a really interesting contest. I'm pretty sure it's going to be senior nights in Stigler. So any thoughts on that contest?
Yeah, I mean, that was, before last week, before Stigler dropped the one to Locust, had playoff implications in it. Still does for Mojo at least. But it'll be interesting to see how Mojo can go up there and handle a little bit of adversity up there at Stigler and see how Stigler plays it and then bounces back from a tough L. If they're going to lay down or, stand up and fight.
Right. Have you heard anything on the health of Tegan Collins? Because I know he is what makes Mojo go on offense.
Yeah, I mean, he had been dealing with turf toe. So, it's one of those things that can only be fixed with surgery. And so he's kind of going to deal with that for the rest of the season at least and, wait until he gets it fixed.
Right. And then, we'll see how that holds up. And then up next, we got Locust Grove at Holland Hall. Locust Grove's coming off their first win of the season. They had a little pep in their step coming into Holland Hall, but the Dutch have been rolling in their games in Tulsa. So I would think Holland Hall comes out and handles business. But who knows? Locust Grove may have a trick or two for them tonight. So any thoughts on that game?
I think Holland will take that one, but truthfully, Holland hasn't been playing the greatest. They're winning games, but they haven't been playing the cleanest of football lately. So, hopefully back at home for them, it'll make more sense for them to go ahead and get a dub.
Right, and then finally we got Lincoln Christian at Eufaula. My question will be: will Eufaula play their starters tonight, or will they kind of let Peter Lee and quarterback? Will they let them sit on the sideline and get ready for next week's clash with Shakota next week? Because I know I watched one of their streams and they were talking about Shakota even before it's talking about us. So I know that's a big game for them. You think they'll keep their starters on the field or maybe take them off?
That's interesting because, Shakota actually rested their starters versus Lincoln Christian the week before they played us. And, it's an interesting tactic. I personally don't believe in it because you give those kids one less game that they get to play, especially those seniors. That's one less game that they get to play. And, looking back on it, in 10, 15, 20 years from now, they can, they could brag about, hey, I played that Lincoln Christian team that was so great. Or, it's just to take away a game from those kids, it's interesting. I understand health factor playing a part in it, but at least play it and play the game early and see how it's going from there, and then make a decision. I don't know if Eufaula will do that. I think Eufaula, Coach Noonan, Eufaula over there. I think he's built on toughness. And I think he's going to let Peter Lee run the ball right at him and see if they can make some plays. And it'll be really interesting to see how that game goes. I don't know if Peter will be able to be the first team to score on them if you follow it, and Peter Lee will be the first team to break one and go score on Lincoln in district play. But it'll be interesting to see if I would expect them to go ahead and play those guys.
Right, and especially that game being in Eufaula, there, I would think that they'll play them, and they may get a little extra help. Being at home, how things are when we go play at Eufaula. And then real quick, I got the District 3A4 games listed because we're going to be looking at them. I'm not sure if there are any upsets to happen out of that district tonight, but real quick, you got Sequoia Claremore at Berry Hill. You got Verdigris at Cassia Hall. You got Cleveland at Benita, and then Inola at Jay. Do any of those matchups interest you heading into tonight?
Yeah, Verdigris has had a good season this year. Verdigris had a good season this year. I think that they maybe could go up and shock Cassia Hall, but it'll be tough to do. Cassia Hall's ran through that district fairly easy, earning every district point possible. I just, Cash the same team that lost to Holland early in the year.
Yep.
So, being able to see that film and kind of compare and see what we're dealing with that North District up there, it's interesting to see. Jay's not a slouch for Inola either, but I think Inola has too much firepower. But Jay, I want to say they're running slot T or something up there. So if they can hold the ball enough and keep it away from Inola's offense, I know that's a really good quarterback and receiver up there. So if they can keep it away from him, Jay could try to eke one out, and it's at Jay, correct?
Yes, it is at Jay.
So at Jay, it could be a little difficult to go play there, and it'll be interesting to see how that one shakes out also.
All right. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We're going to get you out of here. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get into the games across the area and the game day info and forecast. So we'll be right back. You're listening to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First, 96.7 KBEL.
Warrior Pride runs deep in Idabel, and Friday night brings
All right. Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll be in the stands. They don't like visitors in their press box. So for those watching on Facebook, we'll be in the visitor side stands and be cheering right along with y'all.
Oh, man. I'll be careful getting up there.
Yes, sir. I think we're leaving at like 12:30.
Okay.
And next.
When the Idabel Warriors take the field, it's all about power and performance. And that's exactly what you'll find at Southeast Off-Road. Right here, from motorcycles to ATVs and side-by-side, Southeast Off-Road has the machines to take you from the dirt road to the backwoods and everywhere in between. Stop by and see the full lineup at 1312 Southeast Washington Street in Idabel, your hometown headquarters for power sports. That's Southeast Off-Road, bound to border of Warrior football.
Welcome back to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First, 96.7 KBEL. Also, we're live, KBEL967.com, and you can hear these same broadcast on Spotify. So don't forget about that in case you happen to have Spotify and you're just traveling around, want to find out what's going on with the Warriors. We have everything saved, and you can listen to these shows on Spotify. So we're going to get into the games across the area. There's going to be some good action here in McCurtain County, so and in surrounding areas. So first matchup, we got Tulsa McLean heading to Broken Bow to take on the Savages. It's senior night at Memorial Stadium. Savages, they do not need to look ahead to next week's showdown at Podo. Handle business, and it'll be a showdown next week over the mountain. I definitely look for the Savages to win, build off that momentum, continue that momentum over the beat down of the Ada Cougars. So, good luck to the Savages on that one. Up next, we got Valiant at Wilburton. This is the first of two tests for the Bulldogs to end their season. They go to Wilburton tonight, and then next week they will host the Valiant Wolverines at home. And I had somebody tell me the Valiant game will be on Thursday. We will confirm that, because if that's true, we can pack out Bulldog Stadium in Vegas. That's going to be a great contest to come check out. Valiant's got a really good team, so we'll verify that. Up next, we got Hugo at Kingston. Buffaloes need this win to keep their playoff hopes alive. But man, that is a tough Kingston team they faced. Idabel graduate Brad Hill, coaching the Redskins. They've had a pretty good season so far, and do believe they're first in their district right now. So good luck to both teams. I don't have a dog in that fight, but with Brad Hill being an Idabel graduate, and we played Kingston before here recently, definitely think Kingston will handle business at home. So finally, we got Atoka at Antlers. That is a bit of a rivalry game. Both teams right off of Highway 3, about 30, 35 minutes apart. The Bearcats can help their playoff chances with a win. So we'll keep you informed on that one during the halftime show. And then we'll talk about all this again tomorrow morning during the Saturday morning coaches show, 9 a.m. right here in the studio. Now, getting into game day info and forecast, gates open at 5:30 in Chakotah. They will have senior night festivities at 6:30. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 o'clock. There is information about where you can park and everything at Chakotah. We have a link, a post on that on the KBL Sports Facebook page. Admission $6 for adults, $5 for students. The OCA, that's the Oklahoma Coaches Association, and the OSSAA passes are accepted. This is our annual trip to eat somewhere in Krebs. This year, we're going to eat at Rosanna's. Check out what they have. I think I saw a deal that they're running through October that I will definitely be partaking in. And then game day forecast for Chakotah. Mostly cloudy and 57 at kickoff. The temp will drop down to the mid-40s by the time the game ends. So definitely want you in your red and black sleeves. Make sure you cover your head if that's a sensitive area for you. So definitely want you out there, and hope you make that trip. We'll be sitting in the away side stands and broadcasting. So hey, come say hi before the game, and we'll definitely try and get our shout outs before and during the broadcast. So with that being said, we're going to get out of here. We're going to play more commercial, and then you'll be hearing the ONN news before too long. So we're going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in to KBL Game Day right here on Idabel's First, 96.7 KBEL.
Idabel needs one thing: Warrior football. And Idabel National Bank is proud to be your team. Whether you're grabbing a snack before kickoff, buying tickets online, or checking your balance after a big win, they've got the tools to keep Warrior fans moving. With mobile banking, debit cards,